You're standing in the middle of Target, and your kid is on the floor. Not just sitting on the floor. We're talking full body, arms out, face red, snot running, scream that stops strangers on the floor. Because you said no to a granola bar. One granola bar. The kind with chocolate chips that you have literally bought before. And somehow, today, that no has triggered what appears to be the complete emotional collapse of a small human. Every single person in that aisle is looking at you. You can feel it. That particular kind of silence where everyone is pretending to look at the cereal boxes, but actually watching you with the intensity of a live courtroom drama. And everything in your body is screaming one thing. Shut it down. Make it stop. Say whatever it takes. Grab the granola bar. Walk away. Do something. Because this right here feels like failure in fluorescent lighting. I get it. I have been there. Most parents have been there. Maybe it's the parking lot. Maybe it's the school pickup line. Maybe it's your own kitchen, 10 minutes before dinner, over the color of a cup. And here's what I want to tell you today. That instinct to shut it down, that's not weakness. That's you doing exactly what you were wired to do as a parent. Protect, fix, resolve. But here's what the research actually shows us. That instinct, in that moment, it might be working against your kid's developing brain. Not because you're doing something wrong, but because there's something happening inside your child that you can't see from the outside. And once you understand what that is, everything changes. So that's what today is about. Not how to raise a perfect kid. Not how to have a meltdown-free life. That's not a real thing. And anyone who sells you that is lying. Today is about understanding what is actually happening inside your child's brain when the wheels come off, and what you can do in real life, in real time, to work with that brain instead of against it. Okay, can we just talk about the pressure for a second? Because it's not just you. It's everywhere. You're on Instagram, and there's a mom whose kid is calmly using sign language at 18 months to communicate their emotions. And then you look at your kid, who just bit their sibling over a Duplo block. And you think, where did I go wrong? There are parenting books, parenting podcasts, parenting YouTube channels. Hi, hello, I know. And that pressure, it doesn't just stress you out. It actually makes you worse at the thing you're trying to get better at. Because when you're flooded with anxiety about whether you're parenting correctly, your own brain goes into a kind of shutdown too. So before we go anywhere else today, I want to say this clearly. You are not failing your kid. Your kid having big feelings? That is not evidence of bad parenting. That is evidence of a child with a nervous system that is still under construction. And today, I want to show you the blueprints. All right, here's where it gets really interesting. Let me tell you about a house. Picture a 2-story house. Nothing fancy. Just a regular house with an upstairs and a downstairs. The downstairs? That's the old part of the brain. The brainstem, the limbic system, the parts that have been around since before humans were humans. The downstairs brain is in charge of survival. It handles fear, anger, hunger, and that primal, I am not safe right now, alarm system. It is fast. It is reactive. And it does not think. It just acts. Now upstairs, that's the good stuff. The prefrontal cortex, executive function. The part of your brain that says, okay, let's think this through. And maybe I should use my words. The upstairs brain handles empathy, problem solving, reasoning, emotional regulation. Here's the thing about the upstairs brain. It's still being built. Research from Harvard University's Center on the Developing Child has studied this for years. Their work suggests that the early years, R, when the foundational architecture of the brain is being laid down. And brain imaging research, including work supported by the National Institute of Mental Health, consistently shows the prefrontal cortex as one of the last brain regions to fully mature. Most research points to the mid-20s as a general pattern. Your toddler is nowhere close. Dr. Daniel Siegel, a clinical professor at UCLA, describes what happens during a meltdown as flipping your lid. The reactive downstairs brain takes over, and the reasoning upstairs brain is just not available for comment right now. Picture the house again. Your kid is having a meltdown. The downstairs? The smoke detector is going off. The alarm is blaring. There might be an actual fire. It is chaos down there. And the upstairs brain? It jumped out the second floor window. Gone. Left the building entirely. So here's the critical thing I want you to hear, because this single insight might save you 100 frustrating conversations. You cannot reason with a child whose upstairs brain has left the building. When a kid is in full meltdown, asking them to use their words, or explaining why the granola bar isn't an option right now, it doesn't work. Not because your child is defiant, not because they don't understand you, but because the part of the brain that could hear your logic is not home. This isn't an excuse for the behavior. It's a map of the territory. And once you have the map, you can actually navigate. There's a researcher at NYU named Dr. Joseph Ledoux. He spent decades studying the amygdala, the part of your downstairs brain that triggers the fight or flight response. He describes a neural pathway he calls the low road. It's a direct expressway from your senses to your fear response. No stops, no reasoning required, just stimulus in, panic out. For toddlers, almost everything runs on the low road. The granola bar wasn't just a granola bar. In that moment, it was a threat, an injustice so profound that their entire nervous system fired up to deal with it. This is why calm down never works. Telling a child to calm down is like standing next to a fire alarm and saying, "Stop making that noise." The alarm isn't choosing to go off, and your kid isn't choosing to melt down. The circuit fired. Now the brain has to work its way back. Your job is not to stop the alarm. Your job is to help their brain find its way back upstairs. And research consistently shows there is one thing that helps more than almost anything else at this stage. Co-regulation. Your regulated nervous system calming their dysregulated one. Not because you're a professional, but because you are their person, and their brain is literally wired to synchronize with yours. All right, let's talk about what this actually looks like on a Tuesday afternoon, because I know co-regulation sounds like a thing from a textbook. It is not a thing from a textbook. It is a thing that happens in kitchens and minivans and Target aisle 7. Here's the blueprint. 3 steps. And then I'm going to walk you through what this sounds like in 2 of the most common meltdown scenarios parents deal with every single day. Step 1, the I see you shift. Before you fix anything, before you explain anything, before you do anything, you name what you see, not the behavior, the feeling. I see you're having a really big feeling right now. That's it. That's step 1. Why does this work? Because the dysregulated brain is in a state of alarm, and the first thing the alarm needs to hear is someone sees me, someone is with me. Validation is not permissiveness. I want to say that again, because this is the #1 concern I hear from US parents. Saying, "I see you're upset," is not the same as saying, "You can have the granola bar." You are acknowledging the emotional reality without changing the outcome. Those are 2 completely different things. You're not giving in. You're letting them know they've been heard. And a brain that feels heard is a brain that can begin to come back online. Step 2, co-regulation. And here's the wild part. This step has almost no words in it. Once you've named the feeling, you stop talking. You breathe slowly, visibly. You get to their level. Get low, get close, get steady. Your brain has these remarkable cells called mirror neurons that essentially mimic the state of the person in front of you. When you see someone yawn, you feel like yawning. When you watch someone wince in pain, you feel a little flinch too. Your child's brain is doing this with your nervous system right now. When you walk into the meltdown, tense and reactive, voice tight, jaw clenched, energy high, their brain picks that up and escalates. When you walk in slow and steady and calm, research suggests they start to track that. Their nervous system begins to follow yours. You are not just calming yourself down, you are literally offering them a nervous system to borrow. It takes practice. It is not natural when you've had 3 hours of sleep and someone is screaming about the wrong color plate. But the more you do it, the more automatic it becomes. For both of you. Step 3. Boundary with grace. Once the storm has passed, even a little, once eye contact is possible again, that's your window. The answer is still no. And I am right here while you're sad about it. Do you want a hug? Or do you need a little space? The boundary held. No became no, and it stayed no. But you offered a choice, and choice is everything at this age. When kids feel like they have zero control, which is most of their lives, they don't control their schedule or their meals, or when they have to leave the playground, meltdowns escalate. When you hand back even a small piece of control, you are engaging that upstairs brain. You're inviting it back into the conversation. And that pivot, that's where the real learning happens. Okay, let's make this concrete. Because theory is great, but parenting happens at 6:30 in the evening when everyone is tired and the pasta is the wrong shape. Screen time. It's Sunday afternoon. Your 7-year-old has been on the tablet for an hour. The timer goes off. You say, "Time's up," and they look at you like you've just announced you're canceling Christmas. Here's the before version. "I said time's up. Give me the tablet right now. I'm not arguing about this. Does it work? Sometimes. Does it help? Almost never, because now you've got a power struggle, and the upstairs brain just went out the window. Here's the 3-step version. You walk over. You get low. "Hey, the timer went off. I can tell you were really into what you were watching. That's hard to stop." You breathe. You wait. I know. It's frustrating. And the answer is still that screen time is done. Do you want to pause it in a good spot, or do you want me to do it? 2 choices. Both end the same way the screen goes off. But one of those paths gets there with the upstairs brain intact. And that means your kid is actually processing the experience, not just shutting down until the next time. Grocery store, the full version, because we started there and we're going to end it there. You're in Target. Your toddler is on the floor. Before version, grab them up. Hiss through your teeth. Threaten the loss of dessert. Get to the car. Feel terrible about it for 3 days. 3-step version. You crouch down, right there on the floor of aisle 7. You don't care who's watching. Or, okay, you care, but you do it anyway. Oh man, you really wanted that granola bar. That's so disappointing. You breathe. You are the steadiest thing in their world right now. I know, it's hard. The answer is still no, sweet thing. But I'm right here. And maybe they cry for another 2 minutes. Maybe it's 3. But when it's done, when it's actually done, you pick them up and you walk out of that store together. They felt the feeling. They survived it. And you were there. That's the lesson that sticks, not the lesson about granola bars. The lesson that big feelings don't have to be terrifying, that they pass, and that you are safe. Now I want to talk about something a little deeper here. Most of us who grew up in the 80s and 90s got some version of, go to your room until you can come back and act right, or I'll give you something to cry about. Or maybe the feelings weren't punished exactly, but they were uncomfortable, something to be hidden. And so we learned something. We learned that our emotions were a problem to be managed, not a signal to be understood, not information, just noise. Mary Ainsworth's foundational studies on parent-child attachment and the decades of research that followed consistently suggest that children don't need perfect parents. They need predictable ones. A parent who makes mistakes, who has bad days, but who repairs the relationship, who comes back, who stays. That pattern is associated with secure attachment across a wide range of studies. What you're doing when you stay in that Target aisle is repair. You're saying your emotions don't scare me. You don't lose me when you fall apart. I'm still here. You are breaking a cycle right now. And that is actually one of the hardest things a human being can do. To interrupt a pattern that goes back generations in real time when you're exhausted and your kid is on the grocery store floor. Okay, before we wrap up, I need to be honest with you about something. These 3 steps are not magic. There will be days when you try to do the I see you thing and your kid looks at you like you've started speaking Mandarin. There will be days when you lose it anyway. When you snap, when you say the wrong thing, when you grab the tablet in the exact way you promised yourself you wouldn't. That's going to happen. And when it does, that's actually another opportunity, because repair is a skill too. Going back to your kid and saying, hey, I wasn't my best self earlier. I got frustrated, and I'm sorry. That models something really important. It shows them that people make mistakes and come back from them, that relationships survive hard moments, that feelings, even the messy, ugly ones, don't end love. So give yourself that grace. You don't have to be perfect at this. You just have to keep showing up. Keep trying. Keep coming back. That's what a connected parent looks like. Not flawless, present. Here's where I want to leave you today. Think about the version of your kid in 20 years. Think about them sitting with a big feeling and actually knowing what to do with it. Not shutting it down, not running from it, just being with it. That capacity, that resilience, it's being built right now. In Target, in the minivan, at the kitchen table when the pasta is the wrong shape. Every time you crouch down, every time you breathe first. Every time you say, the answer is still no, and I'm still here, you are building something inside your child that will outlast every toy and every grade and every extracurricular. You are not raising a test score. You are raising a human being who knows that their feelings are real and survivable and that they don't have to face them alone. And listen, you are already doing this. The fact that you're here, thinking about how to show up better for your kid, that's not a small thing. That's everything. Your kid doesn't need a perfect parent. They need a connected one. And connected, that's exactly what you are. Hey, if this hit home for you today, come find us in the comments. Tell me what's one big feeling you remember having as a kid, and how was it handled? I read every single one. And if you're ready to go deeper on this, we've got a whole series coming on emotional intelligence, the developing brain, and what real-world parenting looks like when you understand the science. Subscribe so you don't miss it. We're building something real here, and I'm really glad you're a part of it.